And welcome to part 2 of the airbrushing acrylics, craft acrylic and modeling acrylic. We'll move on now from the craft acrylics to modeling acrylic paint that was made specifically for the use in spraying models. Going to be spraying Testors Aztek airbrush paint, designed specifically for use in the airbrush, and primarily I guess because it's thin to the point to where you do not have to mix this with anything. You don't have to thin it. You just dump it in the bottle or your airbrush cup and fire away. So that's what we're going to do. This is going to be the green pearl that we're going to be using. These are $6 a bottle, $5.99. I got these through Tower Hobby. You can get them directly from the Testors website. Still a hell of a deal in my opinion, because once again I keep going back to the Model Master, and not to pick on Model Master because I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 10 bottles of the Model Master. I've got some Model Master, the two-step lacquer process, and the Testors one coat. So $3.79, 2 ounces, or excuse me, $3.79, 1/2 ounce. $6, 2 ounces. So you're paying twice the price right at it of this, but you're getting 4 times the paint. So, and now I can shoot this because I'm shooting about 24 pounds. I can shoot this directly out of my brush, my airbrush, without thinning at all. I never thin Model Master paint, and it comes out just fine. This stuff here I can probably get 4 models out of, just based off what I have been practicing. I have not used this for a completed project. My next project, maybe not my next one, but either the next one or maybe the one after that, a couple down the road, I will be using Testors Aztek brand paint for the exterior finish of the car or the truck or whatever it is. So, having said that, let's get started. Our subject is going to be, this is all I've got left as far as scrap plastic that's not been painted. This is the chassis of I think Barracuda, if I'm not mistaken. No, whatever. But anyway, I wanted this for the kind of the smooth surface. The other side's got the textured for the carpet, and it kind of doesn't give a good indication of what kind of final finish you're going to get. So I'm going to spray it on here, maybe just on this part, and maybe a little over here, whatever. So let's get started. Alright, like I said, no need to thin. So we're going to shake it up. And we're just going to put it directly in our airbrush. And like I said, whatever I don't use, I'll just put it right back in the bottle, so doesn't really matter. I believe that'll be enough for what we want. Yeah, I think so. Alright. Once again, air compressor at 24 pounds. Pardon the head. And we will back off the tip to where we get just a, there we go. And it doesn't take your brush to be open much for this to spray. So let's get started. We'll start, and once again, about 6 inches works good for me, at least in my brush. And we'll just make short strokes across it, and then we'll make longer strokes up here on this. And like I said, I apologize for you not being able to see as well as you should. This room is not set up for making videos very much. And if you're new to, or you're contemplating getting started with airbrushing, or you already have purchased you one and you have already tried it a little bit, and you watch me do this and you say, well, my brush doesn't do that, or he doesn't spray like I do, or my brush doesn't operate that way. Well, this is a single action airbrush. It's what I've been using for probably the last year. I've had double action airbrushes. I've got Badger airbrushes up in my closet in boxes. I've got Pache airbrushes. I've got a Model 8 sitting over here to my left right now in a drawer that I use sometimes, but not very often, since I found these craft acrylics along with these Testors Aztek brand paints. They really do well in this Aztek, in this Pache airbrush. And you can see already, just in a little bit I've been sitting here talking to you, in the last 6 minutes, the kind of finish we already have, the coverage we already have. And this is, like I said, keep in mind, this is not mixed with Future. It's not mixed with any kind of polyurethane. This is straight paint right out of the bottle. Now what I like to do, and I don't think I've touched on this in the craft acrylic part of this video, or part of these two videos. Once I get a decent, now if you're wondering why I just keep painting without letting this dry, these acrylic paints dry very quickly. Also, this is coming out of an airbrush that puts quite a bit of air out. These Pache airbrushes, even opened up real, where there's not much air coming out, puts out a lot of air. Set at 20 pounds or 24 pounds is what I'm using. But it works well. Trust me, it really does. And it almost, I'll show you what we've done so far. Already dry. Well, that not right there, but pretty much everywhere. Pretty much dry to the touch. Maybe just a little bit longer, but not much longer. What I like to do after I get a little mist coat down, a couple of mist coat, I'll open up my brush a little bit to where it's heavier, and I can start my color coat, my real coat, deep color coat. Now what I do is I usually back up just a little bit to about maybe 10 inches. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, that's too wet. That's too wet. No, it's not. All right. All right. We're going to put that aside in the paint booth and let that dry. And then we'll come back and we will clear coat that with some Future and let you take a look and see what that looks like. I think you're going to be really impressed. And then we'll put the craft acrylic beside the model acrylic. We'll do a side by side and let you make your own judgments on which you think you would like the best. So see you in about 30 minutes. Alright, it's been about 20-30 minutes. The acrylic Testors Aztek acrylic's pretty much dry, so now we're going to put our Future. Final clear, and then we'll let that dry and we'll be ready to make some final comments and close these two videos completely out. So all right, my glove on right quick. Okay. Alright, as I said, back your brush your needle all the way down, open it up just to where, and you know your brush better than anybody, so you'll have to be the judge of that. Still haven't opened mine up quite enough. There we go, that's a little too much. There we go. When you test it at about the distance you're going to be spraying, there we go. Okay. Alright, let's just go across it just lightly. We don't want to stay in one place too long. And this is our feature. Once again, 24 pounds of air pressure. I know some of you are sitting there just cringing. That's too much air pressure. Well, it probably is for your airbrush, but for mine it's just right. So now if you see it start to puddle just a tad bit, don't fret it. Don't throw it in the, go out to the purple pond and throw it in there all of a sudden and say, well, I've ruined that paint job. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Trust me when I tell you, this feature levels itself out. I had much rather, and to be perfectly honest with you, I had much rather put too much on with my airbrush than I had with a paintbrush. If you put too much on with a paintbrush, you will pile it into places, and it will have lumps in it and humps in it, and it will be shiny in one place and not shiny in the other. Whereas with the airbrush, if you're putting too much, you're putting too much all over. You see what I'm saying? Whereas with a paintbrush, especially when you first come up out of the container that you have your feature in, when you first start to apply, it's going to be real heavy, and then as you start to, get the feature spread out, you're going to have light places and then heavier places. It's not going to look good at all. If you're going to make a mistake, it's better to make it with the airbrush, I have found anyways. And then when you start to see a little bit too much in one place with a brush, you'll start to go over it too many times, and then the next thing you know, you've got brush marks on top of too much. So I had just rather do it this way. This way, if it does puddle up a little bit on you, don't get excited about it. Just set it, stop what you're doing, set it aside, come back in 30 minutes to an hour or whatever, and I tell you, you'll be really surprised. I really thought I had ruined the school bus. Because I put it on, it's a big body, and I went pretty heavy with it, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have ruined it for sure, because on one side, it was 2 or 3 places where there was puddles of it. I just took it aside, left it in my paint booth rather. I put a cover over the opening to my paint booth where dust couldn't get in there. Hey, I came back an hour later. You would have thought it was sprayed on with an airbrush. So and I did that with the paintbrush. So the thing to do is just leave it alone, let it sit. It'll pretty much level itself out. Unless if it's dripping off the body as you're spraying it out, then you've probably done too much. But otherwise, you're probably in pretty good shape. So we'll let this dry for about 30 minutes. We'll come back to it, and then we'll put the two types of paint side by side one another, and we'll close this out. So see you in 30. Okay, everybody, we are back for some final comments. There you have it. We've got our clear on our Testors Aztek green pearl. I think the results speak for themselves. A pretty gorgeous finish on it, nice shine. Feature came out just wonderful. I couldn't ask for anything better than that. The two kinds of paint here, not two kinds of paint, but the two kinds of clear, the metallic topaz paint mixed with feature on the front, and the gloss polyurethane, ceramic coat polyurethane for mixed in the paint and the clear on the back. And then the Aztek, Testors Aztek, green pearl, cleared with future. So you know, this is just one example or two examples of paints that you can use, whether you use craft acrylic, whether you use Testors Aztek, Model Master, Vallejo, Model Color, Auto Color rather, Createx, you know, the one coat, the two-step, whatever you use, doesn't make any difference. The bottom line, I guess, when all said and done, is that you have fun. You know, you have a good time. It's something that works for you. You enjoy it. Makes your model come out the way you want it to. You know, you're not. If you're a competition builder, then you know you're kind of building for other people, you know, to judge it. But at the same time, don't lose sight of what you like. My other hobby is competition barbecue. I have a competition barbecue team. I've been competing on the KCBS Pro Tour for the last 13 years. As a year or so ago, we kind of stopped because my wife's got some back issues, but kind of the same thing. When I go out on tour to do competitive barbecue, you know, I cook it the way I like it. I do it the way I like it. If the judges like it, so be it. If they don't, so be it. You know, I've come home with trophies and money, and I've gone home with empty pockets. So you do what you like to do and what makes you happy. You know, we're not driving these cars to work. They're not status symbols. It's only plastic. So at the end of the day, whatever makes you happy, what makes you want to put that model on your shelf and admire it, and other people to admire it, that's what you go with. This is just something to show you that there are more things out there, more types of paint out there, other options rather than, you know, the $6 a bottle paints. You like that kind of thing? I love that. You know, don't get me wrong. I love the one coat lacquers. I love the Model Master 2-part system. You know, it's great. I'm not set up to do a whole lot of indoor spraying with lacquer. Now, when the summertime comes and it warms up a lot, I can go outside and do some spray. I have a paint booth, but you still get residual odor even in the house. I've got a paint booth that sits right beside the window, and the exhaust tube goes out the window. So, but you still get some residual odor in the house. There's no way to avoid it. Anybody that tells you that you don't is a liar. So, you know, it makes it a little bit easier when it's raining, and cold weather outside. But when you're inside, you have to spray inside, and you have a paint booth, and you can get the mist and all out. Model acrylics or craft acrylics is another way to go. You know, so. But anyways, I wanted to let you see those comparisons between the two paints. I wanted you to see how the Aztek goes on. I hope that answers a few questions for my subscribers that had asked me about it. And I'm sorry that these videos have gone on a little bit long, but there's just so much to cover. You can't cram it into a 10 or 15 minute video. So having said that, until I talk to you again, take care of one another. May God bless you and your family. Happy modeling. Keep building. Talk to you later.